Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, hosted by the Fantasy Holics. With me, as always, is Brian Bruner and Zach Rom. Gentlemen, it's a tough week to be a celebrity. The tough week. I'm glad that we're not that famous yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Brian's representing a nice NWO shirt.
Yeah, man. If anybody underground wrestling loving nerds like myself have been paying attention, I've worn a different wrestling shirt every week that we've done this. Last week I had a Wu-Tang shirt on, but it's also a picture of Ric Flair on there, like, Wu-Tang. So I have one last wrestling shirt that didn't hit the rotation that I was going to wear this week, but the Hulkster dies today, brother. And I don't own a Hulk Hogan shirt, but this is the closest I get with the NWO, baby. Faux life, motherfuckers. Man, this is devastating. I'm a middle-aged dude. I grew up with that shit. My little childhood memories of Hulk Hogan fighting Andre the Giant and Ultimate Warrior and just being, the music, the I am a real American. It just hits home, man. All the
still a banger. That's right up there with Lee Greenwood.
Oh, yeah. But, Hulkster definitely got himself in some deep shit recently, and a lot of people on social media have been pointing out the not so glamorous side of Hulk Hogan. So I don't want to just completely gas him up, but the dude's a legend. The dude's a huge part of my childhood. So rocking the NWO shirt, and I will probably end up buying a Hulk Hogan shirt to wear in a future episode or two. So yeah, man. And Ozzy, R.I.P. to that.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of music and rock music and heavy rock, and Black Sabbath is fucking awesome, man. A lot of Metallicas and Tools and bands like this don't even pick up instruments if it is not for them hearing Black Sabbath when they were children. So yeah, some big hits this week.
Yep. In a little bit better news, we record on Thursday nights. 1 week from tonight, Lions Chargers football is back. We will have football on Sundays through February. We made it, gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
I can't believe it's already upon us. Even preseason. I haven't watched preseason in years. I bet you I'm going to start watching some this year. It'll still be entertaining. It'll be good, but it's good to feel football being back.
I've been watching the Hall of Fame game the last few years. You just hear that the first series, the helmets cracking, the tackles, and it's like, and then you shut it off.
Yeah.
The nice thing that you do get with preseason is this, as soon as that first series is over, whatever the starters are playing, it turns into very, very competitive because these are all dudes playing for money and roster spots and shit. Mm-hmm. So these second and third string guys that are out there, they're playing their asses off. So, you're going to get some hard hits and everybody's best effort. So just for the purpose of watching people in NFL uniforms flying around, hitting, passing, catching, I watch preseason, man, for sure.
Maybe we'll get one series of starters. Maybe one. Maybe.
And that's always like real vanilla. Like they're not doing any big plays or trying to, send AJ Brown across the middle to catch a hospital ball. Like it's vanilla. It's when those backups come in, that's when you start seeing some like pretty intense shit.
Yeah, and starters have been playing less and less preseason games recently. That it's almost as if week one is still getting rust off. But with injuries being so common, I can understand that. I think this is, with these preseason games coming up, it's a reminder that don't overreact with your starters playing or not playing in preseason games. I mean, go back to Josh Jacobs. What was it, 3-4 years ago? He played the entire half in the Hall of Fame game, and then he led the league in rushing, despite everyone saying sell him, he's going to be cut, he's going to be traded. Like, your starters aren't the ones to watch in these preseason games. It's those second, third string guys. Those are the guys that you picked up in third or fourth rounds of drafts or on waivers. Those are the guys to keep an eye out and switch out as preseason games happens. You shouldn't be trading any of your starters based upon anything that happens here.
The success that my Eagles have had in the last 3 years, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, an 11-win season in between, they don't even play their players in the preseason.
Yeah.
Like Jalen Hurts didn't take a fucking snap. So, take that for what it is. That's them playing or not playing is pretty irrelevant towards what's going to play out in the regular season.
Yeah, there was a little sidebar thing that I came across it looking over things for tonight, but it was surprising. Back to Zach's point about hardly any players are playing in the preseason anymore. It was from Warren Sharp's football guide that the amount of teams that blitzed early last year, it was like one of the highest rates in about 10 or 20 years. And his point was so few teams played any regulars in the preseason that their week 1, 2, 3 was that was their preseason, and teams were getting off to starts. And those weeks count for fantasy football, unfortunately. The stars that you're drafting are coming out ice, kind of cold week 1, week 2, week 3.
Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown last year, and he kind of sucked until about week 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I unfortunately traded him week 3 or 4, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But yeah, that's a very interesting thing about blitzing early on, which makes sense. It's easier for a defense to blitz and catch the offense off guard if it's essentially preseason football the first few weeks. So it's a very interesting thing I never thought of, but that makes complete sense.
I'll grab the real stat and we'll put it in the show notes or bring it up later. So we can get away from the bad trade. We've once again partnered with Underdog this year. So when you go to sign up, use the code word Holics, and first deposit gets matched up to $1,000. This group here, looking at the list, Jaden Higgins over 624 yards receiving, Travion Henderson over 4.5 rushing touchdowns, and Caleb Johnson for over 824 rushing yards. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I've been praising Higgins right off the bat. I think he's going to turn on much quicker than people think. I like that over there. As a Patriots fan, I have a hard time saying don't go over on the 4.5 touchdowns for Henderson, but that could be 50-50. And personally, I don't know if I would go over on Caleb Johnson. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, as much as you have Rodgers there, you have DK Metcalf, I think Warren takes a little bit too much away, and they get started too slow for him to really reach that point. But I could also see it. But I mean, if you look at Breece Hall last year, if you look at the Jets, how whenever they trailed, it was Aaron Rodgers throwing all day. I have a hard time seeing that not be the case again. That I think I would go under on Caleb Johnson, but probably over on the other two.
My first thoughts when when Jay sent us this the other day, after thinking for 5 good minutes on it, I was like, shit, man, it seems like Vegas knows what the fuck they're doing. They're so right there. Like, I was like, damn, I could just totally go either way on all of these. But then just looking at it, my gut feeling says Higgins probably goes over, just because I think he's going to be the clear number 2 pass catcher behind Nico there. And Stroud, despite his, up and downness for fantasy value wise, is a very good passing quarterback. I think it's very easy for the wide receiver 2 on a decent, even mediocre team to end up with 625 yards. So that one, I think I probably like the most if I was putting money out of my own pocket to take the over on Higgins. The Henderson one, man, that is just, like I said, right on the damn line. Yes. I think with the Patriots, we're looking at an up-and-coming offense, but still not a powerhouse offense. Yeah. And I got to believe if they're in close, they're giving it to big old bulldozer Ramondre and not Travion Henderson. So I feel like he would probably have to catch some, not catch, but run in some breakaway runs to get in the end zone on the ground at least, which he's capable of. He's explosive as hell. His highlight reel at Ohio State's beautiful. So, I mean, he could do it, but my gut leans under on that because I think Ramondre would be the close yardage guy. And then the Caleb one, I guess, lean towards the over, but that's the one that I'm the least confident about.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to take one on Caleb, I'd take the over just barely. If I had to take one on Henderson, I'm taking the under, and I'm pretty confident in the over on Higgins.
Yeah.
And my first reaction was over on all of them, but then I thought about it more about Henderson. the Patriots only had 11 rushing touchdowns last year. Ramondre Stevenson's still there. Drake May is going to scramble a little bit more. And if the Patriots are still bad, they could get game scripted out, and the running game is abandoned by halftime. So I would take it's probably going to be 4 rushing touchdowns for Henderson. So, and then the other 2 should be an integral part of their offense and better offenses in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll be, for those of you betting, we'll be bringing one of these each week to kind of start things off, just to throw a little difference in there, or those who are interested. What we might even do is kind of keep track as the season goes along of what was right or wrong each week, and tally it up at the end of the year and kind of see how we could have done, or you might follow along and do that. So yeah, it's just an interesting thing to start things off.
And the whole thing about when you're signing up for Underdog, use the code Holics. You hear damn near every podcast, most entities ask you to do that. It's literally just a favor to us. It's almost a little like tip in the tip jar for us. Everything's going to work the same way. It takes you an extra 5 seconds to type the word Holics in. It's really just kind of a shout out to us, and we'd much appreciate it.
Yeah,
Definitely. I dabble just fantasy football. I haven't had I'm too afraid. Scared money doesn't make money, and that's all my money's scared. So
I'm not gambling, man. I do fantasy football as my main source of gambling. I'll run a cheaper $5 like parlay or 2 on NFL Sundays, but stuff like this I've never really dove that hard into, and I'm afraid that it would just become another obsession of mine. And now I'm playing in 60 leagues and betting fucking hundreds of dollars a week on prop bets and shit like that. So I purposely kind of steer away from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start some this year, but I'm gonna set myself of I'm gonna start with a set amount of money, and if I run out, nothing's happened. And at the end of the season, if I cash out, I'll do the same thing the next year. But I'm gonna keep it nice and slow and easy. But I'm gonna start diving into it a little and see what happens.
Bet responsibly. In the state of New York, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER. In the state of Vermont, blah blah blah. That's the whole spiel. They go when you listen to those things on like podcast commercials, it's 45 seconds of telling you how to get help with gambling.
Yeah.
There's no hotline for winners.
No, yeah, that's called cash and checks.
Yep. So,
all right, so this week we'll be moving on to running backs. Last week, Brian and Zach talked for tight ends for I think about an hour and 20 minutes, which is pretty impressive for a position that has 3 relevant players.
and especially because we didn't just rip on the tight ends the entire time. We actually had some good things to say. So if you did not listen, go ahead and go back and actually hear us talk good about tight ends, which you're not going to hear too often. We'll admit that, but yeah, talked long and good about how we approach the tight end position and who we like and don't like. It was some very interesting values for sure.
All right, so we'll go 5 at a time. These are the keep, trade, cut current dynasty rankings, taking a pulse on the fantasy community. Got not that many surprises up at, well, some people might be surprised with Genty at 3 because there's a lot of rookie haters in the world. They might not even know which way to run. It's okay. He'll be okay. But so top 5: Bijan, Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley, Devon Achane. What do we think about that top 5?
Pretty standard. I don't think you're going to see many lists that look much different than that. You can certainly find a shuffling of the order. I'd say the thing that I want to say right off the rip with running backs is it's a position I really only want to invest anything in if I'm on the competitive side of a dynasty team. If I am in a full rebuild or I'm rebuilding or tearing a team down, I'm sending these guys away for whatever the peak value I can get is. Exception being like Genty, I guess. If nobody's willing to pay up for him, that's a guy that's young enough that I'll look at that I could hang on to for like 3 years. But at the same time, I'd much rather have an equal valued wide receiver or a few first-round draft picks or just something that isn't going to age and possibly underperform or get injured. So again, I really only look at running backs as something I want on contenders. Barkley is kind of the standout in this group just because of his age. He's somebody that only maybe a third of your league, maybe a quarter of your league is going to be willing to trade for. So he kind of gets a little asterisk there. But if you're on a competitive team, fuck yeah, I want Saquon Barkley. I won multiple leagues with him as my anchor last year, kicking ass. So A-Chain, little scary. He's a tiny dude, but he's done nothing but ball out since he came in. So I've kind of forced myself to draft some A-Chain and make a trade or two for him because he's done nothing but show that he's an explosive fantasy weapon. So I have kind of warmed up to him a little bit. The top two, Bijan, Gibbs, zero arguments. They're the top two on everybody's list. I get it. And Genty's there because of the hype, the age, and what he did in college. So I think it's clean. I don't think I'd really change much of anything about the order or who's in it.
Yeah, pretty much the same here. I think the top two, you'd be incredibly hard-pressed to find anyone else who doesn't have Bijan and Gibbs in their top two. From there, I'm fading a little Barkley and A-Chain. Just, it's a personal thing. I mean, Barkley coming off 345 attempts tends to not bode well for the running back the next year just because of the wear and tear. Granted, he's a big body back. He has a great offensive line. It could very well work out well for him. He's 28 going on 29. He has a lot of carries on him. I just think now is kind of unless you're really heavily competing and already sold away your 26 and 27 firsts and such, I'm looking to move Barkley for someone later on this list and get a little extra on top, ride that. But that's just because I'm worried about the wear and tear on his body after all those attempts last year. And I don't know, A-Chain, as you mentioned, is a small body back. I think the Dolphins are going to air it out more this next year. He's someone that benefited a lot from Tua throwing within 2.1 seconds between his throw and his first pressure. Like, he had to get the ball out so fast that A-Chain benefited immensely from that I think his targets are going to go down and Hills and Waddles will go up. And I think come end of season, we'll see A-Chain drop 3 or 4 spots, something like that. So I'm a little worried about A-Chain's value in the top 5, but with how the last 2 years looked, I can't complain. I think more projecting his value, I think he's going to drop, but with what he's shown, it's hard not to have him there.
Yeah, it's hard to bring anyone from 6 through 10 up, and I know these are dynasty rankings, but for briefly, man, the Lions losing Ben Johnson, they've lost Frank Ragnow retired, Kevin Zeitler left in free agency. The Lions I think we're projecting the last few years of a very high-powered Lions offense. They might not be as good. They might stumble out of the gates. I'm a little worried about the whole Lions offense. And how many times have the Raiders made the wrong decision? How many times have the Raiders raided? They just had a big ordeal with Christian Wilkins today. I feel bad that Genty underperforms because the Raiders really haven't been able to get out of their own way since the Tuck Rule game, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, when you're looking at Genty, there's no real competition there. You got Bowers, you got Jacoby Myers and a couple of rookies. I think there's so much volume going towards Genty that it's hard not to have him this high with what he's done. But also, I can't blame you for trying to trade him at this value if you think it's his peak. You can go either way right now.
Yeah, the thing with Saquon, that it's clear and obvious. It's the players that have done the 2,000-yard thing or had the amount of touches he had have always fallen off. Some of them have fallen off to the point where they killed you the next year. Yeah. The couple factors I would say that Barkley kind of has in his favor is he's playing behind the most dominant offensive line in football.
Yes.
He clearly takes care of himself. Dude looks like a fucking Marvel superhero. He clearly didn't lose any type of step. I know he's getting there in age, but we look at it with dudes like Derrick Henry. These dudes are just taking such better care of themselves, and the modern medicine has just become so much better at finding routines and regimens to keep these guys playing longer at their peak. So I'm not saying that it's just locked in that Barkley's going to do great again. It's almost a math guarantee that he's going to run for like 400 to 500 less yards, even if he stays healthy. But he's fucking awesome. He's Saquon Barkley. He's generational good. He's not 30 yet. He's still in his 20s, which running backs, can play that well. And I think that I could see if something bad happened to him this year, everybody's just going to go, oh, yep, see, there you go. Another big, heavy workload, ends in a bad year the next year. But I would not be any bit surprised if Barkley has 1,600 and double-digit touchdowns and catches 30, 40 passes and is, easily a top 2 to 5 running back again this year. So I'm okay paying for him, but again, in Dynasty, it's only on a competitive team. I'm not putting that kind of assets unless I'm like a true top team in that league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very true.
Yeah, man. So how about these next 6?
Next 6, yeah.
There's not much more to speak about those top 5. This is where it gets very interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, it sounds like Najee Harris popped his eye out on the 4th of July, unfortunately. I think Hampton. Yes, I tried to make a meme about that, but I wanted to be not too insensitive. I couldn't find anything good, but Marion Hampton could be a top 5 back before too long with that workload. Got Bucky Irving 7, Travion Henderson 8. Way too high for Henderson in my opinion. Jonathan Taylor 9, Brees Hall 10.
Yeah, I think there's a couple interesting ones here to talk about. And again, this is where dynasty rankings get very interesting when you start talking about age and wear and tear, because you're looking at players behind this that were top 5 scoring last year, top 8, with Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, all not being in these top 10 of running backs on the rankings for a lot of these younger guys. It's I love the Hampton love here. I think especially with Najee going out, I think he's going to do great. Then it gets very interesting. I'm not that high on Bucky Irving. I think there's a couple things that, unless the Bucs really change their mind, I think is going to hold back his ceiling. Yeah, he had some great games. He had 3 top 5 scoring seasons in half PPR. But if you look at it, he played more than 65% of the snaps once. Even after he really was dominant, even after he had 25 touches, he had 25 touches for 152 yards and a touchdown, and he still didn't break 65% of the snaps. Like, he's scoring incredibly well, but with the amount of time he's on the field, I'm worried that it limits his ceiling. If his efficiency drops some, I think I'm worried about Irvin's ceiling unless the Bucs decide to play him more this year. Which, why didn't they play him last year when he was doing so well? So Bucky Irving this high, I wouldn't have him this high myself.
I do think a lot of it was Liam Cohen, and we will see if they run the offense through Irving again. Rachaad White randomly had 32 touches in like week 12 and 13. After Irving had already sort of established himself, they went back to Rachaad White for a little bit, which was odd.
For Bucky was a day 3 running back. For every, and when it comes to day 3, aka round 4 or later drafted / undrafted free agent running backs, for every one Arian Foster, you've got 150 just burnouts, and even guys that flashed a little bit that end. I mean, Dameon Pierce, that dude's pretty much about to get cut off the Texans after having this fantastic rookie year. So Bucky clearly balled out last year. He showed it on the field. He had, I think he had 1,200 plus just rushing yards on top of whatever he did in the air. Awesome. Did great. I just think this is too high for me on Bucky. I have very few shares. The ones that I was able to sell high on, I did. I definitely think he'll still be very good this year in redraft. I think he's okay to take somewhere around his redraft ADP, but I'm not taking him over dudes like Jonathan Taylor, even like Kyron, Josh Jacobs. I like those guys more. Brees Hall, I could argue for Brees Hall over him, just as I think with the draft capital, I lack of competition. I think Brees Hall might even just have a better situation than him going forward. The rookies, Henderson, I like Henderson a lot. I think he's explosive and he's going to get you a lot in PPR with the pass game. I could argue Henderson over him. I think the market says regardless how you feel about those two, you just kind of have to take Bucky over him and then, make the right moves and maybe sell him for more. Like I feel like taking Henderson over Bucky is just kind of doing yourself a disservice with the current market values. But that's I'm there's a lot of not a lot, but there's definitely red flags on Bucky. There's more red flags than I want on a running back that's considered the 7th overall at his position.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is one of the instances where people are taking youth into account more than success.
Yeah, talent, right?
Like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, sure, Bucky did you great, but he didn't win you leagues like Kyron did last year, like Josh Jacobs did last year, even Chase Brown.
Jonathan Taylor, fucking nuclear for the last during the playoffs. These guys have shown you. Jonathan Taylor's been the running back fucking 1 in a season before. Like these dudes have shown you what they can do.
Exactly, and that's the point. When we're playing Dynasty, we're not playing to say I have the youngest average age on my team. Like I'm gonna win. Like no. You need players that score. You need players that have done well. Looking at players, sure. When you're looking at your roster, Josh Jacobs with his age, or Jonathan Taylor with the injury and the holdout issue, don't look as sexy on your roster as a young Bucky Irving, but they're going to do better for you for competing. That, despite their age, when you look at it, Josh Jacobs has 3-4 good years left. That's more than enough to say he should be ahead of Bucky Irving. Same thing with Jonathan Taylor, even Kyron Williams, even Brees Hall. Like these guys who have done it successfully that don't have the question marks of what is their team going to do? Are they actually going to run around them and make plays for them? Is he actually going to play more than 60% of the snaps? Like these, you're not asking that question about Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor, like, or Kyron Williams. Like we need to taper back on the youth to some extent to people who actually have scored and scored well.
Rachaad White and Sean Tucker will get work this year. They will get snaps. They will get drives. Bucky is not built to be out there getting 25 carries. It's just not going to happen. It might happen in a random game where like situation forces it, but that's never going to be the Bucs' game plan. Just doesn't make any sense for the way he's built. For it's just not happening. Rachaad White's capable. Tucker's capable. They've both had big flash games. They're going to be involved. That's yet another red flag for a guy that's going this high.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Double checking here real quick. Yeah. Not that long ago, Rachaad White finished running back 7.5 PPR just in 2023. So
also volume, but I mean it happened. He's capable. And if you look at Sean Tucker, I think it was, I forget what week it was, but he had a week last year where he was the literal running back 1 on the week.
He had a massive week.
I think Bucky was out, or whatever happened, and he went fucking crazy. So
that was his Devon. That was his Devon A-Chain week when the Dolphins beat the Broncos like 71-20, and A-Chain played the entire fourth quarter and had almost all of his runs and all of his stats came in that garbage time. Tucker did the same against the Saints last year. That was a blowout.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he has good competition in that backfield. That it could be times when he's not doing so well, and the other two are doing good, and he tapers back some, and there's that worry with him that high.
He's not. He's
Nah,
small. Bucky's a smaller dude. He's a smaller dude. If him and Jonathan Taylor are standing next to each other, you wouldn't think they play the same position.
Yep.
They're not about to give him that workload, man. I guess before we go on to the next five, I would say Brees actually kind of surprised me that he was at 10. I was kind of figuring it might be somewhere like he might be more like 13, 14 with like Kyron, Chase Brown, Jacobs ahead of him. But, we had a pretty deep discussion on Brees Hall with when Patrick brought him up as someone that he wasn't really feeling. I get it. He's got some red flags, but he's got, he's shown like I said, he passes the eye test to me. I think hopefully Fields is healthy with this whole toe dislocation thing, and they have a more functional offense this year. But I'd say Brees is probably a little bit lower in my numbers if I actually like crunched them and made my own personal ranking. So I was kind of a little bit surprised to see him here, but I get it. We're splitting hairs a little bit. I certainly don't think he'd be much more than like 2 or 3 spots lower.
Yeah, I've been hearing people all off season say if someone will give you first for Hall, accept it immediately. And in that extent, I was expecting Hall much lower too, because that's just what I've been hearing, and seeing him at 10 makes me feel a little better. I do like Hall, but yeah, there are some guys behind him I would definitely take ahead of him just because of the success they've had. Whereas Hall has that injury history. There is a little question with, the running backs behind Hall that might take some work from him. But I think it's, to some extent, I would still have Hall over Irving and Henderson myself. I'm a Patriots fan. I love the potential of Henderson, but Hall has shown it. I know Henderson did great in college. He had 4 great years, but let me see him prove something on the Patriots. As we mentioned, Henderson just might be scripted out of games because if they fall that far behind. Whereas with Fields always rushing, there's always going to be a threat of Hall as a rushing and receiving back, no matter where they're at in the game. That Hall is not going to be really taken out as much as Henderson potentially. That I would still have Hall above him, but yeah, it surprised me he was this high.
yeah, Hall wouldn't be. I have him ranked 13th in my rankings. I would have Kyron ahead of him, Chase Brown ahead of him, and maybe even James Cook. I think James Cook is way too low on this list. James Cook has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he scored 16 rushing touchdowns last year. Is that sustainable? No, I doubt James Cook scores that many again. But Brees Hall still doesn't have one 1,000-yard season. He had 994, so all right, it was close enough. But to have Hall at 10 and Cook at 7, that's way too big of a gap.
Yeah, Cook is low. I think people are expecting some big touchdown regression from him,
Yeah.
which is why. But yeah, I think Cook is too low. When we get to him, I would agree. I definitely have. Yeah. I have Cook a little higher myself.
Talk about too low. I mean, shit. Cook's literally not even in the next 5 we're about to highlight.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's look at 11 through 15 then.
Yeah, 11 through 15 is some very interesting ones.
We got Kyron. I was never a big Kyron fan until late last year. I'm all aboard. I've got Kyron Williams 11, Chase Brown 12, Josh Jacobs 13, Kenneth Walker 14, and Caleb Johnson 15th. I was a big Kenneth Walker fan for a long time, but just as I was starting to put more faith in Kyron Williams, I think I'm completely out on Kenneth Walker. The poor guy just always seems to be nicked up or banged up or something. Zach Charbonnet's pretty solid. I don't know. I can't do it anymore.
Ken Walker's always got the soft tissue injuries. It just it's fortunate, man. It seems like there's a type. There's players that just tend to always have those soft tissue, groin, knee, toe, whatever it is, that the non-break injury type of thing. The dude's always got something going on like that. He's explosive as hell. Ken Walker highlights are fun as hell to watch because he might run into the back of his center 5 times in a row, but then he has a explosive 47-yard run where he stiff arms a guy and hurdles a guy, and it's like, God damn, that guy's good. But yeah, he's definitely an injury risk. I don't think you can really put him much lower than this. I mean, given his age, he's been in the league a few years, but he was a super young rookie. Like, I think Ken Walker's still only like 24. So I mean, that's pretty wild considering it's like going into his 4th season. But like, he was a super young rookie. He might be 25, but
he's 24, turned 25 this year.
Okay, yeah, right. He's young enough. So I don't think you could, given his role and where he's at and his age and everything, I don't think you could put him much lower than this. But yeah, he's super risky. He's a guy that if you like taking chances, like if you have a real stable running back room, he's a guy I don't mind adding around his value for that, to quote Charlie in Always Sunny, a wild card. Like he's a wild card. I like Josh Jacobs a lot in this group. I think he's undervalued. He's younger. He's 26, I think. He's another dude that was a super young rookie, despite how many years he's been in the league. He's like 26 at this point, maybe 27. I feel like I like him a lot. He's done a ton in the league since he's been here. My white screen just went out. That's why my color went a little weird there. But you can still hear me. You can still see me. I'll get through this stupid YouTube ad on my white screen, and we'll get back to regular picture. But yeah, man, I like Josh Jacobs a lot. He's a dude that if I'm in any type of contending scenario, I am A-OK trading for, paying his market value for. The dude's clearly a key cog in that Green Bay offense, which should only be better than they were last year. He might not get the same crazy amount of run that he did last year. He was like their entire offense from the halfway point on. But I'm still digging Josh Jacobs if I'm in any sort of contending scenario. The top two, Kyren and Chase Brown, I think they're accurately placed here. I might put both of them just ahead of Breece, but they're right there around that 9, 10, 11, 12 range. Chase Brown's a little bit worrisome just because of the later draft capital. There was a lot of worry that he'd get replaced by a rookie this year's draft. He survived it. Chase Brown might have been the biggest winner in the NFL draft, that he gets to be the guy in Cincinnati again. So I like it. I don't really have too much contention with this. Caleb, we don't know shit yet, but his age is what's putting him here. He's a rookie, day 2 draft capital. The Steelers generally like running the ball. I could argue some guys like James Cook certainly ahead of him, but again, youth matters so much to the dynasty community that's why he's sitting here.
Yeah, the couple interesting things to have here. I would drop Walker lower. When you're looking at him, he's never played a full season. He missed 2 games those first 2 years, and he missed, I think, 6 last year. When you look at his finishes in half PPR, his highest finish was running back 16. I think in PPR, his highest finish was 18. So when you're looking at this, a guy with soft tissue issues, you have different coaching staff coming in. Charbonnet is looking amazing. I have a hard time putting Walker in my top 15 just because of, am I going to get top 15 scoring from him? Am I going to feel confident playing him as a running back 2 every week? Or is he now dropping into flex play where Charbonnet, we talked about Walker and Charbonnet, Charbonnet we're looking at a potential flex play, especially if Walker's out. I have a hard time having Walker this high. On the flip side, I love Josh Jacobs. I think he's being underrated because of 2 seasons ago. He missed a couple games with the Raiders. He was incredibly inefficient, and people were worried saying, he's not a great back. He's only volume-based, and they came and tore it up in Green Bay. I think you're getting a discount with the production you're going to get from him at his current value. And I'd love to give me some Josh Jacobs shares, and I'm trying to. From there, it's a very interesting question with Kyren and Chase Brown, where I want to kind of pose this question out. Bucky Irving, we didn't like, or we mentioned one of the worries was he was a day 3 draft capital. Well, I looked it up real quick. Bucky Irving was drafted in the 4th round, whereas we're talking about Kyren Williams, even Chase Brown, or it might be me mentioning maybe having them close to or above Irving. Kyren Williams and Chase Brown were drafted in the 5th round. They were drafted after Bucky Irving. Chase Brown, he just finished his second year. His first year, he had 46 fantasy points. He turned it on last year, finishing 10th in PPR, despite a slow start. But Chase Brown still turned it on. But what makes, if you're more confident in Kyren and Chase Brown, what makes you more confident in them versus Bucky Irving or vice versa?
What I like about Kyren that doesn't give me the worry that I have with Bucky is that if you guys recall, Kyren was considered like a blue chip running back, and then he shat the bed at the combine. He had one of like the worst combines ever. He did terrible, and I think that was almost 100% of the reason that he fell to where he fell. And then he had his rookie year where he got hurt in the preseason, I believe, or week 1, and just didn't do anything his rookie season. But since then, since he got healthy, I guess it's been 2 full seasons as like the Rams' primary guy. He's been fucking awesome and has the trust of McVay. There was all this worry last year. Oh, they drafted Blake Corum. Oh no, they drafted Blake Corum. Day 2 pick Corum was. He was around 3 pick. Corum couldn't sniff the field. He couldn't get Bucky up. McVay trusts him and loves him. Stafford obviously loves him for pass pro, and he's their guy. I know there's been a little bit of drama back and forth, like he's trying to get a contract. They keep saying they want to give him a contract, yada yada. But I think he ends up getting a contract. He's got the trust of the coach, the quarterback. He's been fantastic for fantasy. And again, other than his shit combine, he was a great college back and considered one of the best running backs in his class. So I have a lot more confidence in Kyren than I do Bucky and I do Chase Brown. Chase Brown, we've only seen the one flash season from. It was almost out of necessity because the Zach Moss got hurt and the Bengals just didn't have anybody else. And he definitely shined with it. He really wasn't just like crushing on volume. Like he was scoring, he was getting yards, he was getting touchdowns. So I do like what I saw from Chase Brown. But I think even if he has another good year, they could just go, okay, we drafted a guy. Thanks for those 2 years of cheap running back service, Chase Brown. But he's, I don't think you can put him a ton lower than this. Maybe you could drop him into that next 5 I could see, I guess. But, like we talked about with the tight ends last week, once you're at this point, or even from, 6, 7 down, we can start talking about all the warts that, why they're not in the top 5. So I could drop a couple of these guys down into that next 5, move a couple guys like James Cook and Derrick Henry up into this next 5, but there's things we could pick apart with all of them.
Yeah.
As the big draft capital hater, it's not everything. There's lightning in a bottle sometimes. You just get the right player into the right system. Like anybody in San Francisco, is Isaac Guerrero that good? Probably not. Dude runs all over the place. So just take the draft capital with a grain of salt. I'm always fighting for the late round picks, and when that dart throw hits, I'm the first one. Like, look, I told you he'd be all right. I told you he'd make the cut. But I think Irving was a highly touted prospect. I think he had some injury concerns. That's why he fell.
I think he might have bet at the combine a little bit too. I'm not 100% on that, but I think Bucky was slated to go higher and then had a poor combine, and that's why he fell.
It was very slow. Slow and injury concerns.
Right. And he is smaller. He's not your prototypical back size wise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I'm a Kyren and Chase Brown lover. I think for Chase Brown, what I like more than Bucky is the usage. I don't see, even if Zach Moss is back, I don't see him cutting into the usage of Chase Brown as much as Tucker and White are going to cut into Irving. Like you look at Chase Brown, once he really started taking over from week 9 on, he never played less than 80% of the snaps. He was there getting a ton of rushes. He had good efficiency in a lot of them. He wasn't touchdown dependent. I just think when you get to day 3, I think it's how they're performing and versus what other competition is there. And I think Chase Brown, the Bengals can't afford to bring in another running back.
Oh,
Only time they're going to bring one in is maybe through the draft, but they can't afford to spend another dime on the offensive side. They need, or else they're going to turn into the Chiefs from 5 years ago. They're going to have to put some money in the defense, draft picks in the defense. I don't see them drafting a running back next year, maybe even the year after. Like they really got to ride it with Brown for a while, I think. And that's where when you look 2-3 years of potential, no real or target competition for Brown, that's where I'm like, okay, if I can ride this for 2-3 years, I'll pay his value.
Sure. Yeah, and 100% this year, it's the Chase Brown show. There's nothing else there.
Yeah.
So at a minimum, unless he gets hurt, he's going to give you that volume and pop this year. So I hear you there, and I didn't really factor in. You're right. They have no funds to spend anywhere. They don't even have funds to barely put money into their defense. So any 2 nickels they can rub together, they kind of have to put towards defense. So yeah, I mean that Chase Brown, he's on that cheap day 3 rookie contract. I guess they have him secured for this and next year. He could potentially maybe hold out if he had a big year this year, but yeah, he's pretty safe in that capacity. He's going to be the dude there.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I guess kind of lastly in this group, there's really not a ton to say about Caleb Johnson because we've never seen him take a snap. I love his college film, is the bit that I've watched. He's explosive. I think I heard somewhere that he had the most like 30 or 35 plus yard runs of any running back in college football last year. So the dude, he breaks big plays. Size wise, just overall skill set, he's built to take a load. I don't think Jalen Warren is some huge competition for him, but he's a rookie. We have no idea what he's going to do. So It's a little risque having him this high, but his talent, his draft capital, the fact that the Steelers use their running backs like that, I get why he's this high.
How much does Warren being there play into your value of Johnson?
I think it's kind of decent because there's not many running backs that do, especially like rookies or younger guys that don't have a ton of competition. I think Jalen Warren is will have touches and all, but I don't think Jalen Warren's going to just keep him off the field. I think they want to see what they have in Johnson. I believe they gave Warren that 1 year, what's the word for it? Like something like franchise, not a franchise tag, but they put some type of tenure on him or, keep him. So I'm pretty sure this is probably the last year for Warren there. I don't think the Steelers view him as their future. So they're going to want to see what they have with this day 2 rookie that they spent decent capital on. So they should give him every opportunity to succeed. I mean, just look back a couple years back to Najee's rookie year. Najee's rookie year was phenomenal. He had, 80-something catches, 1,100 rushing yards. He was a top, I think, 5 running back his rookie year. So that's a possibility. I think that, that's kind of in the back of some people's heads when you're ranking Johnson up this high. But, yeah, there's not a ton to be able to say about him because we have no NFL tape to really speak on.
Yeah.
Najee Harris has the quietest 4,000-yard rushing seasons in NFL history. And if Caleb Johnson isn't better than Jalen Warren, oh boy, that's a big swing and a miss.
Yeah. I almost wonder if it's going to be like the Falcons' Bijan's rookie year where Algier was taking the majority of the snaps for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks and they ease Johnson in, especially with Rodgers there. Don't overreact if he doesn't get much work the first few weeks. He'll get it as the season goes on.
Yeah.
Other real quick fun Najee Harris fact, if no one ever heard this before. I heard it on a Barstool Sports podcast, and they played a clip of him getting interviewed. Najee Harris sounds more like a white dude than most white dudes. I don't know how else to explain it, but if you pull up a Najee Harris, any interview with Najee Harris, you'll go, holy shit, that guy sounds like a middle-aged white English teacher from a middle school. It's amazing. Do yourself a favor, check out a Najee Harris interview.
Interesting.
Nice. Yeah, we'll see that if his eye ever heals, if he's ever on the field.
Yeah.
I don't think they're talking about he's like never playing football again. They just said they're not 100% sure if he's going to be ready for camp or training camp or whatever. I don't think. I'm pretty sure if he was like missing an eye or in danger of never playing football again, it would be bigger news.
Yeah. Missed the first 4 weeks and just kick it off from there. Yeah. Sweet.
All right.
So we got boy
16
Christian
and
McCaffrey
20.
the next list. We'll certainly let Patrick kick off with Christian McCaffrey here.
Yeah.
Have him on some.
Well, I need some more actionable stats than just opinion. And how could you look at last season and have any faith? He had Achilles tendonitis in both legs. Both legs. I mean, even to be in dynasty rankings where this top 20 is almost all entirely age driven. He's 29 with Achilles tendonitis in both legs. I don't understand how he could be this high. I don't know how he could have any faith or any confidence in an aging player. The 49ers offense has taken a hit. Deebo Samuel's gone. Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall are hurt. Trent Williams is another year older. The defense is not very good. They're almost a rebuilding team. And man, I'm seeing McCaffrey go in the first round in redraft. I just don't get it. Injury takes a toll on talent. Players don't last forever. I think Todd Gurley had knee tendonitis, and he was completely out of the game almost overnight, it felt like. And I love the talent, don't love the situation. I just don't get it.
Yeah, as a guy who in his 2020, 2021 year, in both years where he played 3 and 7 games, I think it was the 1 or 2 weeks before he got injured in my redraft leagues is when I traded for him. I felt horrible both years that I was never going to draft McCaffrey and redraft again, and I still haven't. But when you're talking about dynasty for winning, the value McCaffrey is at, where when he's playing, he's a top 10, top 5 running back. Like when he's playing, he's when he has played outside of his rookie year, 16 games, he's a top 2 running back. His rookie year, he was running back 10. Then he was running back 2, 1, 2, 1. Like, he got injured in there, but if he can stay healthy, there's no volume concern. As you mentioned, Pearsall and Ayuk are injured and out. Sure, they got some good other wide receivers out there. They got Kittle that can take some heat off, but if McCaffrey stays healthy, who's to say he's not going to do what Barkley did this last year? So it's that risk reward of how much are you willing to pay to risk it. Of, can you get him for a mid-second? Can you get him for an early second? What value can you get out of McCaffrey or for McCaffrey at this time? Like, I'm not going to take, if I had the draft pick to take RJ Harvey or Caleb Johnson, unless I'm, again, truly 100% on winning, I'm not trading that for McCaffrey. But when you're going into that early second range, you might be able to toss the 201 and 209 and get the McCaffrey owner. Like, with the value you can put in, it's a bunch of unknowns, and McCaffrey's unknown with his injury. Why not take the guy who can give you a top 2 season versus some other later unknowns that haven't shown you anything? He's a very interesting one.
I'm a dude that totally wrote him off after the 2 decimated by injury years in Carolina.
Soft tissue injuries, I believe.
Soft tissue, short. He was nuclear those 3 years in Carolina, burned everybody to the ground with those injuries. Those last 2 years in Carolina, I was OUT out. Get him off my fucking dynasty teams. I don't want him in redraft. And then in 2022 and 2023, when he went to San Fran, he was the running back 2 overall and the running back 1 overall.
Yeah.
Shit. I missed out on some good money there. I could have now.
A lot of people did.
We're another year older. Soft tissue shit, tendonitis shit. I get it. He's 29 currently, but he's apparently healthy again. I just saw a picture of him working out with his brother and Bijan Robinson, where he looks like fucking just shredded out. I mean, he's always been that way. He's like a workout fiend. His dad never let him like touch a boob in high school. He was just, waking up and doing treadmills and, catching jug machine balls. Like, so the dude's a cyborg when it comes to physical conditioning and everything. So
maybe he's working out too much.
It's absolutely a risk. It's absolutely a wild card scenario. He is in this range, 16, and this is keep trade cut from when we pulled it earlier today. He might even drop a spot or two, go up a spot or two, but he's going to be around this range. He's a guy where if you have a competitive team and you want to fucking get that little nudge that can just push you over into just juggernaut status, and you have the assets to add a guy like McCaffrey for nothing even close to what he costed you even a year ago, I'm doing it, man. This brought up my missionary doesn't win championships quote multiple episodes ago. Paying up for a guy like McCaffrey to win you a title could absolutely win you a title. And if it doesn't, for what he costs now, you're not putting your team years in the hole by doing it.
He's still kind of expensive. Kind of.
He's not free, but I don't think you're making or breaking your dynasty team on the price that you have to pay for McCaffrey at this point.
Yeah.
His juice is worth the squeeze, I would say.
Excellent.
Yeah,
maybe I'll try to take a little bit more risk this year. Maybe I'll try to break my old boring ways, my old
get out of missionary
money,
position.
not making money.
Flip her over. Whatever.
If this is the last year of Christian McCaffrey as an elite running back, is week 14 bye, week 15 Titans, week 16 Colts, week 17 Bears. If McCaffrey can just stay in bubble wrap till maybe week 13 or so, he could definitely be a league winner.
Or he gets a little ankle sprain earlier in the season, misses weeks, 5 to 10, and then comes back for that playoff push. Boom, trade for him then, because then people even be more down on him at that point. Oh my God, he got hurt again.
Yeah.
But he's ready and healthy week 10, 11. Dude, buy him at that point. He'll even be cheaper than he is now.
Or when you get him, send a late second for Garendo and have his backup ready to go. Like, I mean, looking at Keep Trade Cuts rankings, who would you rather have, McCaffrey or Tyler Warren? Xavier Worthy, Colston Loveland, Dak Prescott, Jordan Addison Zay Flowers are all players right around the McCaffrey range of, are they going to give you a better chance of winning or McCaffrey? It's a very interesting value spot where McCaffrey's at right now.
All the names you just said are safer. I think with the exception of like Xavier Worthy, none of them have a chance to like explode and give you some crazy run to win you a title. Maybe Dak. I mean, we've seen Dak do it, but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Apples and oranges with like a running back and a quarterback, I guess. But yeah, all of those guys are just nice, like safe and set. Again, missionary position fucking type of dudes to put in that lineup. Where McCaffrey, yeah, he might burn you, but he also might get you 30 points for 5 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
So look at this. We just turned this list of 16 to 20 into the Christian McCaffrey hour.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about these other 4?
James Cook, I don't have any qualms with. I mean, if his touchdown regression happens, I think I mean, we have such dynamic running backs in the league right now that you could say, yeah, it's a disservice to say James Cook should be running back 15 to 17, but that's just more how great the running backs are ahead of him. That I think if James Cook drops back on those touchdowns, I think that's about where he's supposed to be at. Derrick Henry's incredibly tough to rank in Dynasty right now. He's old. He's got so many miles. I read a stat this week that Derrick Henry, if you add up all his rushing yards in the NFL, he still has more rushing yards in high school than the NFL right now. Like, he has so many miles on him that is he going to drop off the cliff like Todd Gurley, or is he going to get you another top 5 season next year? And what are you willing to put into him? Like, he's so hard to value. RJ Harvey, I think, again, so many great running backs. I love RJ Harvey. I don't think Dobbins, I don't think he's going to do much to stop Harvey. I think Harvey's going to come out on top there. If people are dropping Harvey down, like I got Harvey at the 202, 203 in a dynasty draft because that happened right after Dobbins signed and people were worried about him. Like, buy him at that value. Judkins, I don't know. Is Judkins more risky than McCaffrey right now? Like, what's happening with Judkins?
Complete speculation at this point. No one knows exactly what went down, what, if any, legal action is actually going to happen. He hasn't even signed his rookie deal yet. That makes all of this even more complicated. Like, people were initially going, oh, well, he's going to go on the commissioner's exempt list. Well, guess what? He can't, because he's literally not even technically an employee of the NFL yet.
Yeah.
He's exactly as connected to the NFL as the three of us are. Like, he's just a dude that got picked by a team and hasn't signed a contract yet. So it's super weird. It sounds, I mean, no one really knows anything. It sounds like it's kind of bad. You know, it's like a domestic violence. He was arrested for domestic violence involving like a woman. So it probably ain't good. But at this point, it's almost like he's kind of just in a void for me. Like, unfortunately, all my rookie drafts are either pre-NFL draft or right after the NFL draft, so I have a good amount of Judkins shares. I'm certainly not. I'm selling him like on the cheap. I'm not just trying to give him away for like a 3rd-round pick at this point, because that's, most people are like trying to lowball you for stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
he's just a hold to me. If it does play out that this isn't anything too crazy, and he ends up with like a 6-game, 5-game suspension, or if it's a little bit worse and even misses like his rookie season or something like that, he ends up signing and getting put on that exempt list. I still think he's certainly worth like hanging on to. I mean, with the draft capital they spent, unless it's something crazy like a Ray Rice video comes out or some shit like that, he's going to get an opportunity to play in the league.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's a little bit. He'll probably the more days that pass before we get any news, he'll probably keep dropping on KTC, and he'll probably be down into that late 20s range, if not 30, by the time it's like week 1, if we don't have any news or he hasn't signed his contract yet. So he's somebody that it's just super gray area. Like, there's really, we can speculate and assume what's going to happen, but at this point, he's kind of just like a hold / stay away from for me. And until we know the fate, I mean, it's just complete unknown.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Cook should be a lot higher. I think Cook should be up in the Kenneth Walker range. Just the Bills offense, what James Cook has already done, it just dwarfs the Seahawks offense. The Seahawks could be awful. If Sam Darnold's a seeing ghost again, the Seahawks, I can't remember the last time they had a good offensive line. It feels every single year that offensive line's in shambles. So I think Cook should be a lot higher. Derrick Henry is going to last forever. I think he is the next LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount had that 18 touchdown season. I think Zach might remember. He was on the Patriots that year.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Do you mean LeGarrette Blount, a key member of my Super Bowl 52 championship Eagles? That guy scored a touchdown.
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. He's good, man. I like LeGarrette Blount.
Oh,
Like, you
So
can't
fun watching
tackle
him run.
Blunt. You can't tackle, like, even if Derrick Henry loses all of his speed and agility, you can't tackle him. So I would take Henry over McCaffrey in Dynasty 10 out of 10 times. I think Henry has at least 3 serviceable years left.
You think he's playing until he's 35?
He wants a ring. He's ring
turning 32
chasing.
this year. What if he gets a ring this year? Is he retiring?
That's where. Yeah.
You got me. We'll see.
Yeah.
And Harvey's 24. That's a warning sign in the dynasty community. Not a lot of people thought he was drafted a little too high, going 60th to the Broncos. I like Harvey. I think he's a great player. 19th might be a bit high. Even with Dobbins coming in, Dobbins isn't a long-term fix or solution. I don't even have STM still in Denver, but this could be Harvey's backfield to himself before you know it. Dobbins missed time last year. Again, Dobbins has never been involved in the passing game. I think 19's a little high. There's a couple of other players that are coming up that will debate on having Harvey this high. And Judkins, I took Judkins in my Scott Fishbowl draft, and then 2 days later he had the legal troubles.
That hurts.
I don't have my Facebook law degree on me at the moment. So I wouldn't overreact too much. I wouldn't trade Judkins and then he doesn't get suspended that long. A lot of people always think, oh, he'll be suspended for a year. This player's going to jail. And then lo and behold, the player is suspended for 2 to 4 games. I'm not going to move off Judkins quite yet.
Yeah, he's old, or even if you could buy him for mad cheap, like maybe just for your own amusement, throw in a third to the Judkins owner who might be in full panic mode. He's going, again, unless it comes out that it's something really crazy bad, he's going to get a chance to play in the league. So,
there was already a portion of that report that came out was that this altercation happened a while ago and the police were not called and a file was not reported. So the story was a little shaky.
Oh, maybe they waited for him to get drafted into the NFL and then decided to come after you. We'll see.
Possibly.
We shall see. I won't even bother speculating.
Yeah, I mean, with the draft capital you put into him, he's a hold if you have him, and he's a buy if you don't.
If you can get him cheap, man.
Cheap, like you're not. I know some people took him at the 103 to the 107, 8. You didn't see him drop much past that. You're not gonna. I'm not picking someone at the 107 and then a month later trading him for a late second. Like, you got to hold him on the hopes that you can regain more value. Like, a late second's not worth moving off that guy at this point with how unknown that is. Judkins, sure, he could be worth less than a late second in a year from now, but he could be worth a lot more than that. That it's not worth that risky of a draft pick. Just hold on to him if you got him. Buy him for a late second if you can, and we'll see what happens.
Had there not been the Judkins issue, would you have how high would you have? Let's say he signed and didn't have the legal issues.
He'd be sitting right where Caleb Johnson is sitting, I believe, just because of the higher draft capital. Judkins was like one of the first picks in round 2.
From what I've seen, what people are hearing, it could be just me. I would see Judkins right up, but with Henderson. I know people who flip-flop them so much of they want this, they want that. I know people would have him 7 ahead of Irving, like
way up. Yeah. I think I don't feel like doing it off, trying to do it on the fly here, but I think you can, when you go on KTC, you can actually put in a date and see what KTC looked like at a certain date. If you did it right up until the day of the allegations coming out, I guarantee he was right there with Henderson because I saw it in all my rookie drafts. He was it was a very common thing where they kind of flip flopped amongst each other. I think Henderson might have like overall been like one spot ahead in ADP, but I saw multiple drafts where someone took Judkins ahead of Henderson in that mid first range. So yeah, he'd be notably above this had the legal stuff not came around.
He peaked at running back 10 on Keep Trade Cut.
There you go.
Wow.
Right. So
10
that's
spots. About
yeah,
2 or 3
about
weeks.
different.
And dropped hard.
And then real quick, with all my rambling on Judkins and McCaffrey, I didn't even say anything about Cook and Henry. Cook and Henry are two of my most rostered running backs. I love both of them. I think Cook is definitely undervalued. I can easily push him up right to that 13, 14 range ahead of Ken Walker, right with Jacobs for sure. He's the running back one with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and a nose for the end zone on one of the best offenses in football. I don't care that he's in a contract year 25 or 26. James Cook's fucking good. Give me him at this price all day. Derrick Henry, obviously only on contending teams, but he's a fucking cyborg. He's probably my favorite player in the NFL that's not a Philadelphia Eagle. He's amazing. Watching Derrick Henry, run through people is like watching Michael Jordan shoot jump shots or watching, Picasso paint a painting, man. Derrick Henry is a fucking football player, dude. That guy is fantastic.
Yep.
He is so fun. If Barkley didn't have 2,000 yards last year, we'd all be talking about how incredible Derrick Henry's 1,800-yard, 16 touchdown season was. Love that dude. Give me him on every fucking contending roster I can get. Give me him in the first round and redraft again. I don't give a shit that he's 32. That dude is a machine sent back from the future to run through linebackers.
Remember once upon a time that the Titans did not use Henry that much?
Did you just say remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans? In 2016 and 2017, Henry had 150 carries and 176 carries. And then in his 2018 season, he only had 215 carries. And the talk was, the hell are you not using this guy for?
Yeah.
And then they turned him loose, and I'll still remember that Thursday night game. He stiff-armed that guy to hell on a 99-yard run. That was like,
that
was
on your bench for 2.5 years.
That back is just sideways in like Superman position. He's. If you don't like Derrick Henry, there's something wrong with you, and you should just quit watching football.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you can get them decently cheap. I mean, I don't want to say like completely cheap. I think I traded the 106 for Derrick Henry in an early 26 second on a competing team right now. And sure, that's a lot, the 106, but an early 26 second plus Derrick Henry to really push myself over the edge to try and compete. I think that's about the right value to pay for him to really dive into competing and really push yourself over the top.
Yes, sir.
So we'll go 21 through 40 here. Won't get into as much detail. Maybe just pick and choose our favorites and least favorites. A couple of these stand out to me in both ways. Top of the list, Chuba Hubbard. I love me some Chuba Hubbard, but I think the dynasty community is kind of sour on him. He was a low draft pick. The Panthers may or may not be very good still. I think 21's a little low for him, though.
I like Chuba, definitely.
He's someone I was surprised wasn't in the top 20. Just some people are asking for mid-first for him. Some people got him in the top 10. He was someone I was surprised didn't make it in the top 20.
Yeah, he produced, and they gave him a solid contract, multi-year contract. So, he's a guy that easily could be in the top 20. I mean, he's 21, so it's not like he's criminally low, but he definitely could be in that first page.
Yeah, again, speaks to the depth of running backs that we have for fantasy purposes when we're talking about 21, 22 with Kamara, Montgomery, who's amazing. Like all these guys back here that we're going 20 running backs deep, talking about potential for fantasy purposes. It's it's a great time to be drafting running backs.
Running back feels cool again after a couple years of zero RB, and
Yep.
like now you want the workhorse, you want the Derrick Henry, you want the Genties, you want all that bell cow. I guess they call it hero RB now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Term of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to a similar way that I love Derrick Henry for fantasy and for regular football, but only on a contender team for dynasty. Alvin Kamara is in the same boat. He just, with him, it's a matter of just catching a million balls and getting those PPR points. But Alvin Kamara has been a fantasy rock star, and there's no reason to think he's not just going to get that same carry and reception volume and just kind of, volume his way to getting you 16, 17, 18 fantasy points a game. And in Dynasty, because of his age, because of his, the shitty team he's on, Kamara is not a very expensive buy and someone that I'm happy as hell to pay that, second round price or let me see. I drafted Cam Scatterbo and I have a contending team and some aging out team, a team that wants to rebuild has Kamara. I'll send Scatterbo and I'll add a third round pick to Scatterbo to get Kamara in a contending roster. So he's a guy like Mixon is another real volume situation. He's not, busting out 80-yard runs, but Mixon's been phenomenal. Mixon's been a top, I don't want to, fudge the numbers here, but Mixon's been something like a top 12 running back for fantasy, like 5 consecutive years or something like that. It's something similar. Don't crucify me on those numbers, but it's something just like that. Again, no reason. There's some injury talk. He's starting on the PUP, but I don't think it's anything major. We would have heard more about it. There's no reason Mixon doesn't just do yet again this season what he's done for years in a row. He's got Woody Marks is his biggest competition. Like he's a guy that's, again, I don't want him on rebuilders, but give me all the Mixon shares on contenders. You guys have any strong feelings on those three there in any way?
No, I like him. I think you got to fade Mixon a little with the injury history, with being 29, going on 30. He's got some great volume, but yeah, there's a little concern there. One I'll point out is Swift. I think people are still fading, thinking it's an old Bears team. When you look, they made 2 good moves for offensive linemen in the offseason through the draft. They got Loveland who can block. Like, I think people are discounting what Swift can do for you. That if you can get him at this range, this value right now, I'd go out and get him. I think he's going to jump up. I think he's going to score you good in a flex spot. Where if I'm looking at running back 27 on a list as a potential flex play, like I'm buying that all day. Pacheco is an interesting one. I mean, now that he can actually spend time recovering from the injury, not be there for a playoff push, I think he has potential. But yeah, I think you hit on some good ones, and I just want to throw Swift and Pacheco back out there.
I was down on Swift. I'm sorry, DeAndre Swift. You're a lot better than I thought you were. You're a lot better than I gave you credit for. Now that they're back with the Ben Johnson offense, the Bears are looking good. Like Zach said, they added some offensive line pieces. DeAndre Swift has never finished lower than RB 23.5 PPR. I wish I couldn't. I felt like he was hurt all the time. He really isn't. Swift's half PPR finishes in his career is 16, 19, 22, 23, and 19. I would have never guessed it was that much. At 27, I think that's a tremendous buy. He's only 26. Who are the Bears really? I don't think Roschon Johnson's ever going to be anything.
I know people would think so. I don't.
The problem with the hatred for Swift is that he had those rock solid teens to early 20 finishes, but like every other year we were taking him as like the running back 5 or 6 because of all the hype. So you were horrifically disappointed with that running back 21 finish. But yeah, man, if he's running back 27, the competition is Roshan and some 7th round rookie. I can, I've warmed up to Swift for sure. Heath Cummings from CBS is the most diehard Swift guy this year. He's all the fucking man. Heath loves smoked meats and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I think Pacheco's done. I think he looked awful last year after the leg injury. The Chiefs brought back Kareem Hunt. They signed Elijah Mitchell the second day of free agency.
Yeah,
I think they know something. They know he's not 100%. We'll see what happens there. Travis Etienne's way too low. Travis Etienne finished running back three in 2023. His back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. They had a bad season in Jacksonville. People thought it was Tank Bigsby season. Tank Bigsby season lasted maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I would 31 way too low for Etienne. That's a
super with you. I drafted ETN, one of the last startups I did. I'm just about to pull up the draft results because I got him and I remember thinking like, God damn, I got this guy late. Like it's a big starting lineup. Like I think it's like 4 flex spots on top of being, super flex and 2 running backs, 3 receivers, all that stuff. So big starting lineup. And I think I ended up getting ETN as like my last or second to last flex spot. And it's a league with, I think it has like a small carry bonus, like a 0.1 per carry bonus or something like that. So running backs have a little bit more juice. But talk amongst yourselves. I'll find that. I'll find his draft spot. But yeah, I love ETN at this price. He's young as shit still. Not young as shit, but he's young. He also didn't have a single touch his whole entire rookie season, so he's got 1 less year of touches than most dudes his age or most dudes with his years of experience. So yeah, man, big on ETN this year. And for running back 31, similar to what I said about McCaffrey earlier, you're not ruined if you pay to get Travis Etienne and he doesn't pan out. You can still win your title even if you miss on Travis Etienne.
Yeah. I wouldn't be paying much for Etienne. Personally, I'm a Tootin guy. I think he's going to start taking over some. Like looking at Etienne this last year, I'm not saying he should be 31, but looking at Etienne this last year, he posted his highest scoring game and half PPR was RB20. He never scored above RB20 this last year. And he played, let's say he played 13 games. He got injured a game. He was out 2 games. He didn't play much that 4th game. Really played 13 games, but as someone who was supposed to start off strong, he started off with RB 28, 20, 21, 39, 29, all before he was injured. And then even when he was back from injury, he played over 55% of the snaps twice post-injury. And after their bye week, 3 times. After the bye week, he didn't do much either. I'm worried that Tootin is going to take over slowly but surely, and that Etienne had that one great year. But when you look at his great year, he barely cracked 1,000 yards on over 250 rushes. He had 11 touchdowns. He had 73 targets. It was a lot volume based. It almost reminds me kind of Rashad White, where he wasn't that efficient, but he had that volume. And then you have young blood coming in. It worries me. Granted that the value can get him, but it worries me.
I did find where I got him in this league. So it's a super flex lineup start 12 league, and I was able to get ETN at pick 1108. So he was the second to last starting roster position I drafted. I'm not here trying to say that Travis Etienne is going to be the number 3 running back again or have any chance at that, but I think there's a very realistic shot that he's the main guy in Jacksonville this year, and he could end up as a running back 20, running back 22, running back 25 even. And I'm happy to get that if he's costing me running back 31. He's a very good college player, and he you're right. It wasn't like a flashy year that he got that running back 3. It was a lot of touchdowns and nothing too explosive, but he's shown that he can do it. And I like him at his price. I don't. I'm definitely not trying to like put him up on a pedestal that he's going to be another top 5 or even top 10 running back. But I like him at the price.
Yeah. The Jaguars do have Liam Cohen. Does he get the Bucky Irving treatment?
He could.
Yeah.
He's probably the most Bucky out of those running backs there, I guess. Who we got? James Conner, right in that same Kamara Henry category. Fucking James Conner gets no love. This guy just balls the fuck out. Dude, what did Conner do last year? Balled out again, for cheap prices, and now he's for dynasty shit. He's a year older. People are just giving James Conner away, unless you're like a super contender. Most people are happy to sell Conner for like whatever they can get for him. So yeah, he's a dude. Give me all the Conner on the contenders.
Agreed. My final thing, I'm looking at the list: Jordan and Mason above Aaron Jones. Is that's 49ers hype for Mason, or do people really think Jones is just toast?
I think it's age. It's got to be age.
Definitely age. It's the same thing that we have Travion Henderson so high without even seeing a snap for him. Is the same reason we have Aaron Jones this low after seeing like one of his most productive seasons ever last year.
Yeah.
He had more touches last year than he had with any year he did with Green Bay, and stayed healthy. He was like running back 16 overall and played like every game last year. It's odd. Another dude, the way I view running back is like 6 months to 1 year rentals. Shit, yeah, give me Aaron Jones on teams that are competing. Fucking at running back 37 prices. I feel like once we're done this pod, I'm just going to shoot out some offers for Aaron Jones, around that value on all my contenders. I do like Mason. He's usually cheaper than this from what I see, but apparently this is what he's at what he's going for on KTC. He's a guy I like drafting when I do my like redraft mocks that we do for the page and stuff. Mason's definitely a guy I like grabbing late for some running back depth. If something does happen to Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason could be a legit league winner in fantasy, all formats this year. No doubt about it. I like Pollard for sure. For this cheap, we've seen great things from Pollard. The dude, last year aside, because he's bouncing back from like the bad leg injury, but I saw a few different breakdowns of Tony Pollard where, other than last year, where you can clearly say that he's recovering from the broken leg, he has some of the best like per touch numbers in the NFL over the last like 25 years. Tony Pollard is awesome when he touches the ball. Even with the Titans, the year before he broke his leg or whatever, he's been wonderful. Like he's a very good NFL running back. He's not super old yet. I don't expect a ton from the Titans offense this year, but I do expect them to take a step forward with Cam Ward coming in. So I like Pollard for this price. Shit. I mean, where are you getting Tony Pollard in startups, and where are you getting him in redraft drafts? I'll take him all day at that. At that running back 38 for a dude that has been very, very good just about every year of his NFL career. That's not ancient yet. So I like Pollard a lot.
You're looking at multiple backups that might not even see the field ahead of him in value just because they're young.
Yeah, Trey Benson is like 10 spots ahead of him and might not even sniff the field if James Conner just keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Scatterbo might not get that many touches to be worthy of 25th.
I have him that high.
Singletary and Tracy again. We might not even see Scatterbo that much.
I think Scatterbo takes that backfield. I think Tracy fades. I really do.
Yeah.
When you look at Tracy, when you really look at Tracy, he wasn't that impressive. He really wasn't.
It was mostly volume.
Volume. I know people were asking for a mid-first for him come start of the offseason. his hype got way too high that I think Scatabo is going to do well there.
I might have been fueling some of that hype. Sorry.
I mean, Scatabo definitely has all the opportunity. I think it really what they do in camp and what they do in preseason, who catches the coach's eye. I mean, dude, Devin Singletary, he's probably running back 88 if we had to go that far. But like something about Devin Singletary, coaches love, teams love, offensive lines love, quarterbacks love. Motor Singletary. They remember I learned that nickname from like Hard Knocks last year or whatever. When they let Barkley go, they were going to bring in Motor. That's who they're going to get. But I don't know. He's still under contract. He's part of the backfield there. I could see it just being a pretty messy mix of Tracy, Scatabo, and Singletary, and like it's just a nightmare trying to figure out which one to start. And like that whole situation is preferably an avoid for me.
Yeah.
If you drafted some Scatabo shares, I have some Tracy shares and Singletary shares from last year. You're not cutting any of the three of them, but I think that's one of the messier, more wide open, who the fuck knows what's going to happen backfields. And on top of all that, they might just suck. And, you tend to not really want running backs on teams that suck because they don't have much scoring opportunity. So, yeah, they're not three of my favorites or two of my favorites among this list. But, yeah, it could easily be the Scatabo backfield early.
Yep.
He had an amazing senior year in college or whatever his junior. I'm not sure if he was an actual senior, college roles are weird. He might have been a purple shirt freshman or something, but I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say Judkins is suspended for, I guess, more of a redraft question. How high would Sampson be if there's no Judkins for an extended period of time?
If it's like a 6+ game or 8-game suspension or the whole year, Sampson, if we're talking redraft, he would definitely jump up. But I think Jerome Ford is much more of the path to at least early success. They trust him. I heard a report today. They already said, Jerome Ford is running with the ones or taking all the one snaps, ahead of Sampson, which makes sense. He's done it. He's proven he knows he knows the system. So that being said, I think Sampson would be like a later round pick, some RB bench depth. I think Ford would be one of the last starting running backs that you'd want to like invest some capital in. For Dynasty, it would help Sampson a lot more. I think Sampson would be. I think the way it's going to work is until we get news, Sampson's going to keep creeping up this list, and Judkins is going to keep falling down this list because then we're all infatuated with youth and rookies. And Sampson was a rookie or is a rookie. He's clearly just now the future of the Cleveland Browns because Judkins is going to jail or whatever whatever's happening. So that'll keep happening. I think Sampson might even be like a sneaky good sell right now. If you have people that are going, oh well, he's clearly just a guy now. Like I think I know a lot of college scouting type dudes were big on Sampson. They liked him a lot prior to the shittier draft capital. I think he was projected to be a higher pick than a day 3 pick. So I know a lot of the South Harmon drafts I do that happened before the actual NFL draft. Sampson was going pretty freaking high because people had a lot of hopes for him being a higher pick than a day 3. So there's something to be said for that. He had a lot of hype. He had a lot of eyes on him coming into the draft. So if he does get that chance, maybe he does overtake Jerome Ford. Maybe he ends up being the guy there for this season or beyond. It's so hard. It's just the same way you have to kind of like hold and avoid Judkins right now. I feel the same way about Sampson because so much of it hinges on what the fuck's happening with Judkins, which we don't know yet.
Yeah.
I was bummed when Sampson got picked because I wanted him to have a situation to himself or touches without having to share. And then it like torpedoed both in a way, Judkins
Yeah.
and Sampson. Like, no. And
Yep.
then the Browns just
Doing Brown stuff.
Yeah.
in the
It's the best
same
way to put it.
draft, they torpedoed Judkins, Sampson, Dylan Gabriel, and Shadir Sanders. Like, oh my,
Right,
what
like,
are you
What were they
doing?
doing?
and they have so many fucking needs. Like, other than edge rusher, they had a need at every position on the fucking field. And they
needed
were like, you know what?
receiver.
Let's double up quarterback. Let's double up running back. Cleveland going Cleveland.
Yep.
Gotta love him. Gotta love him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also trade for Kenny Pickett and sign Joe Flacco. And
Why
then
not?
quarterbacks. Fucking unreal.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Well, we're at an hour and 40 or so. I think that's actually a little bit better than I thought we'd do. I figure we might end up being at the 2-hour mark before we, stop yapping about running backs. The receiver episode is going to be. We might have to make 2 parts out of the receiver episode because I'm pretty sure we could do 3 pages and go down to wide receiver 60 and have strong feelings about all of them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Wide receiver is a much deeper position that it'll be very interesting to see all of our thoughts on that.
No doubt about it.
We'll definitely be taking notes from what Zach says since he's wide receiver 1 room.
Yeah.
We'll see if what I say has any merit or not.
And if you want to know anything about the Game of Thrones universe, you can ask me since I'm Castle Black. But
there
that's
you go.
probably not an episode we'll ever do. Maybe we'll branch off into some non-football episodes and we can talk about my love of Game of Thrones.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we'll call that a wrap, man. It was a pleasure bullshitting with you guys. I always love it. Always love hearing your takes on these dudes.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. We'll catch you guys next Thursday.
Good night. Enjoy, everyone.
Peace.
Be safe.